If you like LED lights like I do, this little LED light is probably one of the coolest little lights that I've ever seen. The first time I saw this was back in January when I went to CES. I stopped off at the OLight booth and they had a whole bunch of really cool lights, but this one little light kind of caught my eye. This is the OLight Sphere, and it's got 360-degree lighting. You just simply press in the button and it just lights up just like that. Looks super cool. It's got 7 different modes that you can change without the use of an app. But when you connect this up to your phone, you have the option to control a whole bunch of other different things. They have some interactive games that you can play with this. You can also change the 7 different modes that you can use without the app, so you don't necessarily need the app all the time. Once you have everything set, you can just simply change things just by pressing in the bottom button here. And this little light is pretty bright at night. It gets up to 75 lumens max, and on its lowest lighting mode, you can light up this little sphere for probably about 40 hours. You can also control the brightness just by holding in the little sphere. You can make it go all the way down, let it go, and then you can press it again, and you can make it go up to its highest brightness. It also has a magnetic bottom, so you can easily attach this to metal things. Maybe if you're working in a shop, you need a little bit of lighting. You can also attach a really cool little ring to the bottom of this, so you can easily clip onto your book bag, things like that, so you don't have to, always be holding it, and it can kind of light the way for you. Or it can also allow you to have other people know where you are just by the lighting. You can't even see the LEDs that are inside the sphere, and that's what I think makes this little light so cool. It's so subtle. Another really cool thing I think you can probably use this for is a night light if you have children. There's also a countdown timer, so if you want to set it for maybe an hour, you can put it onto your nightstand or your child's nightstand to allow them to fall asleep, and then after a set amount of time, it'll just shut off by itself, which is pretty cool. And because this also does have an IP56 water resistant rating, maybe if you kind of want to set some ambiance in your bathtub, you can, fill your tub up with water, put this on maybe a really nice red light to maybe set that romantic mood. And speaking of control, you can also control up to 100 of these different spheres. They're also super inexpensive. This one that I have here does have a wireless charging through a magnetic charger that does come through it, but they also do have one that has a USB Type-C port that comes in at only $17.99. Super inexpensive, and for what this little light can do, it's got a lot of different features. I think it's pretty cool. Another cool idea is if you're having a party and you want some kind of party lighting, you can get a couple of these, put them around the room, maybe around the table if you're having some game night, and it'll give some really nice ambiance to the room. It is made of all plastic, but it does have a nice little rubber edge on the bottom here to help keep it in place when it is down on a table or something like that. And you don't need to actually hold on to it to turn it on. You can have it sitting down and just kind of press down on top of it to change those lighting options, or double tap it to totally turn it off. And it's got 20+ lighting modes when you're using the app. This is just these 7 different ones that it has that you can cycle through without the use of the app, but when you're using the app, it gives you so much more functionality. And it's also got a drop resistance rating of up to 1.5 meters. So now let me show you the unboxing experience, and then we'll connect it up to the app so it can show you everything this little light can do. So let me give you the unboxing experience really quick. So we got this little tab right here. Let's pull that out. We get a little instruction showing us where we need to charge our light. Here is the light itself. Comes in this really cool little cover. All right, so that's how you get that out. And we have this little tab here, so we can kind of pull this off. Comes with this little metal piece It's got some 3M adhesive on it, so you can stick it to whatever you need. And then you can stick your sphere right to that. It looks pretty cool. It's pretty thick. Got your 3M adhesive. Here we've got our user manual. It comes with some eyes that you can put on the ball too. That's pretty cool. Little googly eyes. And here is your magnetic charger. Just simply clips right onto the bottom just like that. Very easy to charge, and it uses USB type A. And there is the sphere. It looks so cool. And it's got a little button on the bottom here with this little silicone ring. So you can either put this down on top of something, press in on the top, or just simply press it in with both fingers for a couple seconds to unlock it. And then once you do that, you can then turn it on just by simply pressing in the button one time, and it'll turn on. And I do again have the one that is charged with the specific proprietary OLight charger that is magnetic. You just simply clip it onto the bottom and it starts to charge your light. You can see it's got a little LED status to let you know what the battery is doing. It's charging when it's red, and when it's green, it is done charging. But again, this does come in a USB Type-C version, which is more readily available, so you don't have to purchase the charger from OLight, but it's pretty inexpensive if you want to. So now we're going to connect it up to the application. I'm going to show you everything that this little light can do. It's super cool. Again, you've got the 7 different modes that you can go through just by simply pressing down on the button. And again, all these modes can be changed using the app, which I will show you in just a minute. But in total darkness, this little light is pretty bright. And again, if you want to change the brightness, all you need to do is simply press and hold the button in when the light is on. You can see it goes all the way down to its lowest setting, and then you release the button and then press and hold again to go turn up its brightness. But you also do have more brightness control into the app as well. So those are all the modes, and then when you want to turn it off, just simply double press the button and it'll turn off with an LED light. Now you saw that this little LED light was amber, and that's to let you know that I think the battery is more towards the 50% range. When it's green, you're kind of at like, I think 80 to 100%. So every time you turn it off, you'll know what the battery level is pretty much at. So now we're going to put the light into its pairing mode, and you need to do this when the light is actually turned on. So after it turns on, just press in the button 3 times quickly, and you'll see that the light will turn green and it is now blinking. Then all you need to do is scan one of the QR codes on the side of the box with your phone, depending on if you have the Android or iOS. So I've got iPhone. So it is the OLight app, so we'll just open that up. Once you've opened up the app, you will need to register. And then once you've registered, you go into My Devices, click on the, it's already found the device, so we can just click Add. So it is adding now. So it's added successfully. You can change the name if you need. We'll click Done. You can see we're on 11% battery life. So we will need to charge up our light, but you can turn it on right from here. You can see it responds very quickly. And here is all the things that we can do with the light. It's got a whole bunch of different features here. Again, it shows the battery life up at the top here. You can turn the light on and off. It also works with your microphone. We've got our light brightness here, which is pretty cool. It gets pretty bright, especially if it's on your nightstand at night. We've got the music rhythm, so it can kind of change with the rhythm of the light. And this is what the light looks like when it's interacting with music. I can't let you listen to the music that is playing in the background because it is copyrighted. And then we also have the interaction. We've got the countdown timer, the Bashable. We also have cloud timing. Seems to have a schedule function, so it looks like you can kind of turn it on and off at a certain time, but it seems like the function is unavailable, so it says you have to have a working Bluetooth mesh gateway product. So I don't have that right now, so we're not going to be able to use that function, but we do have the countdown timer. So I'll set it for 5 seconds just to show you that it works. Confirm. And you can see it turned off. So again, like I mentioned before, if you have this on your nightstand or your child's nightstand, you can set it for how many ever minutes, hours you want, and it'll automatically turn off by itself. And after 30 minutes of inactivity, this will also go to sleep, so you don't have to worry about any battery drain. So this little light does have some pretty cool presets in here. So I'll show you those right now. So at the bottom here, we've got general, nature, festive, and atmosphere. So you can change to white, your red light. We've got red light flash. So if you have this on your, like a vest or something, a book bag at night, and maybe if you're hiking, somebody can easily locate exactly where you are. We've got that color wheel, so you can pick exactly the color that you want the sphere to change to. I really like that blue. It's nice and vibrant. That is so cool. It's so soft. So pleasing to the eye, especially if you have this like on your nightstand for a little ambient light. That is so cool. Then let's go into nature. We've got some auroras, a sunset. It looks so cool. We have a blue sky. It looks really neat. It looks a lot better in person than it does on the camera. The camera kind of changes the way that the brightness is and the little subtle details of the light. Got the butterfly. That's cool. It kind of looks like there's a little butterfly, like something flying around inside the LED. That is pretty cool. Lilac fountain. It's pretty cool. It kind of flows down from the top to the bottom. That's really neat. Let's go to festive. Got cotton candy. Fireworks. That looks pretty cool. Confetti. Fireball. Looks pretty neat. It's got this little like circular light on the inside. Carousel. Oh, that's cool. Harvest. Will-o-wisp. It's pretty interesting. Zombie. That looks pretty cool. We got phantom purple. That looks cool. Christmas. Candy cane. Snowfall. Oh, that's cool. Let's go to atmosphere. So we have spiral. That looks pretty interesting. Gradient. Magic ball. And then here we have fireplace, which is pretty cool. Kind of fades in and out like the flame of your fire. And then we have vibrant. Another really cool thing about this light is that you can actually use it while it's being charged up, and in the application, it actually shows you how much life you can get from the light at the current percentage battery at a certain brightness. So you can see we're sitting at 12%, 1% brightness, so you should be able to get about 8 hours of use out of the battery if you were to take it off to the charger right now. Now, if we turn up the brightness here, say 25%, you can see the battery life does go down to about 6 hours, but it's pretty cool that it shows you how much battery life you can get at the current brightness. So this light does have 7 different modes of operation you can use without the use of the app, and 4 of those modes you can actually customize yourself. 3 will always be the same, and 4 you can customize. So the very first one you can't change is the white light. The next one you cannot change is the red light, and the third is the blinking red light. Now the first one you can change is right after this, so just go to that. And then we're going to just simply select the light that we want to make for the first customization. So I'm going to go into General. I'll go into our color wheel, and I'm going to change this to green. Then for the next slot, you just simply press the button to go into that. Then I'm going to change this one to Aurora. Then for our next customization, just press the button. We'll go into this and change this to Zombie. And for the last customization, go into Atmosphere, and we'll change this to Fireplace. So now the last 4 selections will be your customization. So we'll go back to the very first one, which is the white, the red, the blinking red, and the first customization, again, is that next slot, which is our green. We've got the Aurora, it looks like the Zombie, and the Fireplace. So if you want to customize those last 4 slots, you can definitely do so with whatever color or lighting mode you want to, which is pretty cool. Now let's try out the Bash-A-Mole. So I guess you're supposed to hit it when it turns on. Yep. Maybe. There you go. Gotta be quick. That is pretty cool. So if you got multiple of these, you can kind of, hit whichever one is going off to make it a little more competitive. And even on its lowest setting, which is at 1%, you can see that it puts off a pretty good amount of light. If we brought this all the way up to 100, you can see it gets so much brighter. But in a really dark environment, you really don't need this light to be super bright. Now you can also run automations with this little light, which is pretty cool because you can set the light to turn on during certain situations, turn on and off at certain times. But to do that, you're going to need the OLight Outbounds gateway. You can't just do that right from the app just with the OLight sphere. You can see here I have an automation set. I have it scheduled to turn the light on at 1:05 p.m. You can set whether it turns the light on or off, the color, the brightness, what kind of color mode. It's got some pretty cool options, but again, to do this, you're going to need to also get the OLight Outbounds gateway. So this little light is super cool. It's got a lot of different features and functionality. I do like the fact that you can have it turn off at a certain amount after a certain amount of time when you're sleeping, so you could definitely use this as a little night light on your nightstand. And I'm definitely going to be picking up more of these for different places around my house. And if you guys want to pick one up yourself, I will be putting product links in the video description. And if you guys enjoyed the video, please let me know by hitting that like button. And make sure you subscribe for more tech reviews. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.